let's give folks a bit of a minute or two to start joining. This will be recorded, correct, Ellie? Just in case. This was not to have anybody here listening to me repeating things. I'll wait a couple minutes before we get to any announcements beforehand.
Yep, and then after the recording is live, it'll be posted on our YouTube channel, by the way. So for those who can't make the whole workshop or want to watch it back later. Alrighty, I think we'll give it one more minute and then we'll get started. See people still jumping on.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, one more minute and we can just make general, I guess, announcements. Awesome. Good to see so many people here. Recognize a couple of faces, so that's good to see some familiar faces. So okay, two minutes over. Again, this will be recorded. I guess we can share that again at the end of this, just in case anybody kind of missed anything. Yeah, I'd like to just start by posting, if you could, where you're joining us from. Always love to see where people are logging in, joining us from there in the chat. If you go to the top right, you'll see a little chat bubble. Let us know where you are. It's always really cool. Not only, makes it a little bit more community-wide, kind of nice to gather all around, but it's also good to see like where our developers are at. It also helps us as well with timing our events. I know that there's developers around the world, and we try to make it so that we have a time that is amenable to everyone. But we'll definitely keep working on that. Awesome. See, there we go, all around the world. North Italy. Where's North Italy? Piemonte? Milano? All right, so just awesome. There we go, Germany. A lot of people logging in from Europe, so that's cool. So yeah, the only kind of well, I'll get to what we're doing here. We're gonna essentially integrate Coinbase Onramp SDK into your application. I'm gonna go through Germany speaking part of the. Okay. So yeah, Dolomiti, South Tyrol, cool, good wine over there. I'll take you everything that is brand new, creating an account, to having it running on your application, as it were, if you follow along with me. So there's going to be I'll be switching from slide deck to the Coinbase docs to the CDP portal, and then to my code editor, so that we can all kind of understand what I'm talking about here. The only thing again that I think I will mention is that, and I thought about this a couple times. Usually, I love to get interrupted and get asked questions on the spot, but there's a lot of things that I like to cover, and some questions may be answered during the process. So if you could ask your questions in the chat, Ellie will probably log those if you could, and then we'll get to them at the end. And yeah, I think that's the only kind of clarification point that I want to make, because if we stop at every point, maybe somebody hits a bug that other folks may not have. It may be, it may take up the whole time, and then if you do hit a bug afterwards, I'm happy to help anybody afterwards, and then we can definitely chat about that if you ping me on Discord. But so, without further ado, and bear with me here, I'm going to be sharing my screen. All right, give me a second. Well, that's not what I want to do. All right, so there we go. Share this window. All right. Let me know if you all can see this. Can you all see my screen right now? Ellie?
Yep, screen is live.
Okay, cool. So this is slide deck. I thought about going into the presentation and back and forth, and if you'll bear with me, we'll just do it this way because as you see, we have some other tabs open here, and I will be sharing my code editor. Yep.
We can only see Discord at this moment.
Which one? I'm sorry.
It's just streaming Discord at the moment.
Yeah, I switched back just because I can't really see what's going on in Discord when I'm sharing my screen, unfortunately. But do you see the slide deck right now?
No, it's only showing Discord.
All right, so let me try that again. It was before, I believe. I'll share this window. Okay, give me 1 second. Mm-hmm. Can you see my slide deck now?
No.
Was it just sharing right now? Correctly? Correct me if I'm wrong. Sure. Okay. I think it's here. Sorry. Stream is still running.
No, it's still showing.
And now?
No.
Apologies, folks. Not sure what's going on. Give me 1 second. With the video hindsight preview. Okay. Change. Okay. Can you see that now?
No, it's showing the same.
Okay, there we go. Add windows. Add this window. Okay, got it. All right, that should, I believe, yeah. Sorry, there was a little pop-up window that was. Thanks for that. Thanks for everybody. So again, rather than go into like the slideshow, I'm gonna have to switch between different kind of tabs. But I want to just give a brief title here: integrating Coinbase Onramp SDK into your app. Essentially, my name is Gustavo Surs, and I'm a technical services engineer here with Coinbase and working specifically with the Coinbase Developer Platform team. And so quick agenda here. What we're going to do, as I mentioned previously, is just we're going to set it up on our developer platform. If you were new, for example, we're going to configure the on-ramp product, and there's a couple of configurations there that may be interesting or important for folks to implement. Then we're actually going into the code implementation, which I already have just to save us some time, but I have the GitHub repo that I'll share with everybody afterwards, so you can just clone it, fork it, and do it and work on it on your own. Then I'm going to share also there's some mock testing capabilities on OnRamp, so that if you actually do want to go ahead and test it, you don't have to go through and actually create real transactions, which is something that we generally get a lot of questions about. And then lastly, this is a bit of a plus here is we're going to generate those API keys. And then we also have an OnRamp API suite, and we're going to use the transactions endpoint just to log what transactions have actually happened within our OnRamp instance. And lastly, we're going to go through a quick Q&A, or not quick. I really want to leave as much time as possible for everybody here to ask some questions. So since I ate up in the screen sharing business, let's get right to it. So setting up your CDB account. So again, I'm gonna click on over here and make sure this is showing. Ellie, I think, yes, we're on my Coinbase Developer Platform.
Yep, good to go.
Screen. Awesome. And so when you just sign in, if you haven't signed in, you just sign in, you provide your details, and as soon as you open for the first time, your Coinbase Developer Platform, you'll land in the home page. And so you can see it's here's the dashboard, and we have other tabs that we can choose. But for the on-ramp, and I've created just a project here, and you can also create new projects. I created the on-ramp demo, sorry. The main thing to remember here for OnRamp is to save this project ID or be wary that it is living on your project's homepage. This will be essentially the app ID that you're going to use for your OnRamp integration. So this is very important. This is definitely something that you're going to need for the integration going forward. You can just come back here, make a note of it. What is easiest for you is what you can do, but just make sure that you know that it is actually here. If you do create another project, that project in itself will have another ID, obviously, and that app ID will be then linked to another OnRamp instance. So if you want to make a lot of OnRamp instances, the way you go about doing it is creating new projects and using that project ID that you can copy and then adding it later, as we'll see when we go into the integration phase. So the on-ramp configuration, pretty simple. We go down to the on-ramp here on the left hand, and we go ahead and click on it. Here you can view the docs, links us to our Discord channel that we have a dedicated on-ramp channel if you have any questions, issues that you're going through. And if we scroll a bit down, you can see what the configuration is here. The first part of which is you can actually edit your application's name. I just named it Gustavo's Wallet, and we'll see exactly when this shows up. This is going to show up in the last confirmation screen where the on-ramp or the tokens are going from the on-ramp to token. This is the wallet's name or the application's name. You can always obviously also just if you have a business name, you can call it something else. I just call it Gustavo's Wallet for this demo's sake. But again, this is where you would set that name, and I'll come back to where this specifically shows up when we're actually implementing this. Second part is here, important to remember for production applications. This is a bit of an advanced topic here that I'm not covering 100%, but I'll just let you know. If you do have a production application, we have the ability to generate a sessions token with our API endpoint. Again, as I mentioned, OnRamp also has an API endpoint suite. One of them is so you can generate a secure session token. And if you do want to go ahead and do that, for example, if you're just testing, previewing, staging, you may not want to do that yet because it takes a bit more of logic. Again, you just have to generate that token each time when you launch the OnRamp instance. But if you do want to go ahead, here's the toggle. Again, it takes a few minutes to reflect. But for now, again, as we are testing, we would not need to generate that right now. And then what it does is, as you can see, it just encrypts the URL and the data, and it just reduces the attack vectors. If anybody does have any questions about that, again, I'll definitely be happy to answer those in the channel and get more clarity if you want. The third one is also an important configuration to mention. You can set up a domain allow list. And essentially, why you would want to do that is because we offer a redirect URL parameter. And what it is once your customer launches their OnRamp flow within your application, they go through the purchase and they've gone ahead and done and finalized their purchase. You probably want to help them get back or get redirected to where they just came from. And that's what the redirect URL parameter. I'll show you where that is in the code in a second. But you must actually also include that domain that you want for your Coinbase app ID to redirect to here. So it can be a Chrome extension, such as Chrome extension -- or an HTTPS domain. And again, you can add a couple of them there, delete them. This is up to you. You can add, any dev, staging, or production URLs here. And anytime that may change, you can always come here and update those as well. So that's essentially as far as the configuration steps go within our CDP platform. Just quickly to mention also, as an extra, we do have a couple of metrics here that you can go into. You can see I made one transaction, today or a couple of days ago, just to test what we're doing here with our test application. And you can also download the logs here rather than hitting our transaction API endpoint, which we will see. You can just go through the UI, select the custom data range, last name, days, so on and so forth, and actually download that CSV data right here from the UI. So that's very convenient as well. Now, going on to actually implementing the OnRamp SDK. And I just want to point everybody here to our docs, which is the first place I think everyone may go or should go. We go to CDP APIs, go down to payments, and we click on OnRamp. Again, you'll see here that we have a welcome introduction, getting started, quick start. Then you'll see our API endpoint suite for on-ramping. We also have an API endpoint suite for off-ramping. We have some developer guiding. But what we'll be hitting on today is actually the Pay SDK integration. And so this is a React SDK, which can be used to essentially abstract any of those API calls that you may need to make so that you can generate that URL for customers to create that on-ramp flow. And as you can see, probably it's pretty simple here. You can use Yarn to install the package. You can use npm if that's what you prefer. Here are all the names that you can just copy and paste here. Again, here's the npm version that'll install the node modules and the library onto your project. And if you want to go ahead and upgrade it after a couple of weeks, months that you've been using it, also here is some guidance around that. And lastly, we have the integration here. We'll go to the code in a second. It is essentially very much, it's very similar to this, even though I added some stuff so that I can show you all what the different combinations and flavors and what the different behaviors will be. So you'll get the init on-ramp parameters. The init on-ramp is essentially what will load that on-ramp instance so that when you click on a button or when you, it will navigate you to that new tab or that pop-up screen where the user will be actually redirected with all the information that we include here to our Coinbase Onramp flow so they can go ahead and either make a guest checkout payment if they don't have an account or log into their account and use any of their safe payment methods on Coinbase and go ahead and on-ramp that fiat into a token and then deposit it into their in the wallet that you that we'll see where we can put it in. And again, there's a lot of hero parameters. I'm not going to read them out right now because we'll go through the code and it'll make a lot more sense what they are. But if you want to know what they are, what they do, here's the explanation if they're required, what type it's expecting. And yeah, without further ado, we can go now into the code. I'll add this window because I think it's not there. All right, I think you can see it now, correct, Ellie? I see it in my little screen. Awesome. I'm glad that this is it here. So very quickly created an npx create React app application, boilerplate React app that one can create. When I share the repo, the README will have essentially how you can go about creating this and starting your own React app. But I think if you're familiar with front-end development and React, this will probably be familiar to you. What I did add is from our app.js, I included the wallet component. And what I did was essentially added a bit more logic so that I can connect my wallet and grab that wallet address and put it into our init on-ramp init on-ramp flow. And so that may be a mouthful. So let me show what it looks like right now. I have it running on our local host here. And essentially, this is what it looks like when it's all said and done. Again, the connect wallet is, if I want to connect, I just click on it. I added that logic and I want to connect to my Coinbase wallet. I'll allow it and it'll pull my address from my connected wallet. And now that wallet will be passed into my Coinbase Pay flow. So if I click on that, you'll see that it'll take me to my flow. I am signed in already, but if you're not signed in, it'll prompt you to do that. And we can, it defaults to transfer because I have some funds here, but you can also go and actually go ahead and buy. And if you're a regular user, this is the flow that you can go about, use some, select or type in how much money you want to spend. Let's go crazy. No, I'm not going to spend anything, but and then you have your source of your funds. And this is, remember when I talked about the configuration, so to Gustavo's wallet, that's on your CDP account, on those on-ramp configurations, that's what I was mentioning, where that name will show up. So if you want to change that, if you want something else to show up on your own flow, you can change it to whatever it is on the CDP on-ramp configurations page. And here, obviously, we can switch between these two networks, and I'll show you why we can switch between those two networks right now, and then we can confirm and pay. Also, I guess worth mentioning, this is where it'll where the source of funds is. This is why it's great. Like if you already have a Coinbase account, you're KYC'd, you have credit cards, you have a balance, you have a couple of credit cards or bank accounts that are already KYC'd and ready to go. I think this is one of the great reasons why Coinbase Onramp is so attractive to a lot of developers. We have a large user base of KYC customers, and they don't really have to input their credit card numbers or bank account information or KYC or go through any type of 2FA. They can just choose to use whatever it is that they already have in those social funds, and then go ahead, preview, send, and well, I don't have 100 of ETH, so and then go ahead and buy. So why did we see just Ethereum and Base, for example? So let's switch back and make sure that it's here. So now talking about the init on ramp, and if for those who are seeing this right now, a quick detour here, why this is here. Since I am using that wallet component so that I can click, get that wallet, and add that address into my destination wallet. I put it into a use effect, and I only want my use effect to run. If you're familiar with React and front end, I only want it to run my init on ramp to actually launch, because it is you can think of it as an async method. I only want it to run if set mount is set to true, and I only want it to set mount to true if my wallet address is correct, or if there is a wallet address, for example. And so that's why this exists, because otherwise use effect will just kick off as soon as I refresh this page. As soon as the DOM renders, it would just launch the init on ramp, but the wallet address would be essentially empty. So that's why this set to mount flag is set here with state variable. And again, happy to answer questions afterwards or in the channel. You will see this in the GitHub repo, but that's just a little bit something that I added. So if mounted, what do we have here? We have the app ID, which we talked about grabbing from the project ID section. You'll see that it matches. And then we have those other things here that we have the widget parameters, which are, for example, the destination wallets. And destination wallets, again, is where these funds that you are onboarding for fiat to tokens, where will they go? Where will they be sent to once you click the submit payment button, or the submit button, rather? And that's that wallet that, again, I'm grabbing from when I connect to my Coinbase wallet. That's the way I set it up. You are obviously going to do something different, perhaps in production. And again, the great thing is you can set that dynamically, but also understand that it is again, as I mentioned, an async method. So make sure that that wallet address is actually there before you run the init on ramp method. Otherwise, the wallet address will not show up and you'll get an error. And now going to the next one, why do we see Ethereum and Base here? Again, in the blockchains, I included an array here with those two blockchains there, which are available, which I want to make available to my customers. Maybe I just want Ethereum, maybe I just want Base, maybe I just want something else. And so that's why, and that's how essentially you can set it up in your own way. You can pick, choose, and create whatever combination of different blockchains that you want to create. And this is how you're essentially going to go about it. Also, some other parameters that you may want to choose or you may not want to choose. Again, I urge you to go in here and ask and look at what is required. As you can see, pretty much very basic, just the widget parameters, which in itself is this object down here. You'll just need like an address to send. But if you just want to include any other things, I'll show you what you can do. I want my default address, again, my default network to be set to base because, for example, maybe I just want anybody purchasing to get really low network fees. As you can see, these are pretty low for if we chose something like 25 cents Coinbase fee, free network. But if we chose Ethereum, it'll pop up a bit more. So it's going to be $1.40. So maybe that's something I want to offer my users as a default network. But they may choose for whatever reason. I may want to give them a couple of other options because that's the way I want to go ahead and do it. So here is another thing that we can do here with these. Give me 1 second. With these parameters, I'm going to uncomment this. Actually, let me do this. I'll comment this. And yeah, just because we were seeing, let me take that out. Just because we were seeing, connect the wallet again. Just because, remember, we are seeing people default experience to transfer. A lot of questions we get is, hey, I just want them to go to buy. So if you just want them to be instantly taken to the buy section rather than the transfer section, again, that's something that you can put here as default experience. So that's one really quick way of understanding, how these parameters work. Another really cool option that we have here, and it's we have to keep this in mind around what parameters are necessary to do that. Another question that we also get is, I don't want my customers to go clicking through different screens when I know how much they want to buy already. For example, I already had that information. They want to buy $10 worth of ETH. I just want them to click submit, for example. So as you can see, I uncommented out. What we would need is the preset fiat amount, again, which you can insert here dynamically. The fiat currency, you can put all these parameters in here dynamically, default asset, and their default payment method. So if you're gathering that information beforehand from your customer, and you don't want them to go through the whole the workflow, just click through next screens, and you want them to take them to essentially what we call the one-click version of this. As you can see, I did not choose whether to buy or transfer or choose how much money I wanted to input or choose where I wanted to pay from. We're sent to this very convenient one-stop shop. And as you can also see, we can also kind of, it is modifiable. It is not something that is set in stone as well. So it is a great way of lessening those steps for your customer to get right to where they want to go, which is what you just want to confirm and purchase if you have that information. If they come here and they're like, I'm not sure, you don't want them to go back and forward. They could just edit. Maybe I just want 12. Maybe I don't want to use my Wells Fargo card. Maybe I want to use something else, for example. Or maybe I actually do want to use Ethereum network for this, or whatever it may be that you give them the options here. But it's a great way to just skip all those steps if you are to have, or if you are gathering that information from your clients beforehand. So also a really cool way to skip through all those options here. And as I mentioned, that is just by enabling these parameters here. And again, these are all shown on our documentation here when you're integrating the onramp. So yeah, I would ask you to just come in here, look at what it is that you want to do, what experience it is that you want to give your customers, try different things out. But yes, do keep in mind, and again, this will be all available in the repo, that if you do want to go for one-click buy, these are the parameters that you must have at bare minimum, because we need to know, like, what currency they're using, what do they want to buy, how much do they want to buy, so we can take them right away to the to that screen. And lastly, I don't have a redirect URL per se, but I did mention that on our developer platform here, configs, we need to set up a domain allow list for redirect. So after you go and purchase, and I click confirm purchase, and I believe it's 5 seconds goes by after the confirmation, they will then be redirected to that redirect URL string, a redirect URL, which you can supply here as a string. And also, again, making sure that that URL, redirect URL, is also set here, so that your customers will be redirected effectively, if that makes sense. So very quickly, confirm purchase. After it's confirmed, 5 seconds afterwards, they'll be redirected if the redirect URL is included, and if that redirect URL is also in the domain allow list. So yeah, other than that, there's just some other there's just some other logic here for the innate onramp method that you can definitely check out on your own if you want to see the repo when we're done afterwards. And the next thing that I quickly wanted to share is, and sorry, I kind of moved. I'm moving screens too much. So I'm sorry if I'm doing that too quickly. So if you do want to mock or test on-ramp transactions, a lot of customers, ask for sandbox or testing environments, because they know, even though you can buy, a very small amount of coins, and you can use something like Base, which has, very low gas fees, you may not want to do that. So how do I go about mocking those transactions? So essentially, what we want to do is go down to the bottom of the widget, and I'll include also this in the notes that we'll have. And we're going to click on this 10 times. Once we click on that on the bottom 10 times, don't click on Coinbase, because it'll send you to coinbase.com. But anywhere else in the bottom, you click on that 10 times, and you're going to see a lot of the data debug menu here. Just some data around the the device ID, the user ID, the URL that actually got you there. So also good if you want to debug for whatever reason. You're not seeing something showing up. Maybe there's a bug on your code, and that's why it's not propagating here. It's good to understand that. But here for the actions is what I want to get to. So you can enable mock buy and send. What this is true, when you click confirm buy, it'll just show you what it looks like. Perhaps you want to do that to test your redirect URL, for example. For perhaps you just want to understand what your customer is going to be looking at when they're going through this flow, so that you know how to handle them when they get back, and all that. You can just do that, and click X, and for example, right now I'm mocking, and this is what it would look like. And if I show details, you can see that it's really not going anywhere. It's free, but it's completed, but it was a mock transaction. This did not actually go through, even on, it didn't even go through on testnet or mainnet. So that's something also cool there for you to know. Also, one point to make here, if you do not disable it and you open and close it again, this will stay on, by the way. So it's also good to understand whether you've switched it on and you don't want it on anymore. Go back here and turn that off at the end. So that's a pretty good tip here that some folks have been asking about. So wanted definitely to share. And we're getting to the questions and question and answer sections quick. So I do appreciate all the patience, and if you have some good questions, I hope to see them soon. But lastly, what I did want to show you is we also have the onramp API suite, and within that suite we have the transaction status. We have it for partner user ID, which is a parameter that you can include within the parameters when you're creating the on-ramp session, so you can actually look at if you want to create an ID for a user that's logged in your application, and you want to link it to a Coinbase Onramp user, you can pass it in. This can be whatever you want. This is a bit advanced. If you have any questions around that, I'm definitely happy to talk about that afterwards. But I think we're gonna probably do another one of these just for the on-ramp API suites and off-ramp API suites, perhaps. But just to show you the other on-ramp transactions endpoint that will probably make more sense, what I'm showing you here is this actually won't take a partner user ID. This will just show all the transactions for an API key that's created within your project. And so firstly, let's go back. We can turn that off. And so now that we're on our project, again, we're on our on-ramp demo where the project ID lives, which is living in our on-ramp instance right now. And then we can go over to API keys, and then we can, apologies, a little bit of cold. We can create the API keys, name it as you will, and your API name and your API secret will pop up. And these are the keys that you can actually use to query our transactions API. I've already created one, and I will also point folks here to how to generating a JWT token. That'll be in the notes as well, so that you can securely call our endpoints. And let me hover over here and let me add this window as well, a couple of windows, to our just using Postman. You can use curl, you can use Insomnia, whatever it is that you may want to use. This is people using Colab, for example. And here I am including my API keys. I guess you can see this one, but not the private key, even though I'm going to delete these afterwards. This is the same organization for the dashboard here that we have here. And I made an on-ramp transaction that actually went through, not the one that we just saw because that was a mock transaction, but I went ahead and did one before because it takes a couple seconds to propagate, and then when querying that, you'll be able to see what it looks like where your users or your customers to make transactions, what it would look like when you include your API keys and you call this endpoint, what those transactions would look like. So you can just query these. You can pull these if you want to. You can, query these and send them to some BI tool, for example, so that you can see nice data visualizations of what's going on. Create your own logic to see, monitor it, log it, whatever it is you may want to see, so you can see what what's going on, what currencies are purchased the most, what networks are used the most, what were the fees like, what are the value, how much money it was the total for a certain week, day, month, whatever, what have you. You can also have your TX hashes here created, what country those buyers are coming from or using, what payment method would they like the most, and so this is really what rounds out all this information. If you want to programmatically access this data, and again, create a data pipeline to your BI tool so you can see what's going on in real time, or I would say real time, but near real time, I think would be the best way to go about saying that. And lastly, I'll mention again that if you don't want to do it programmatically and you just want to come in here every so often, you can look at the logs here. It's a very simple BI, right? Very simple data, visualization of what's going on. And then you can just download the last 30 days, 60 days, if that's what you want to do, CVS, and then grab that CVS if you don't want something that's as real time as actually querying that endpoint that we just saw here, that we do offer for the transactions. All right, so thank you everyone for putting up with that kind of sprint. There was a lot of information, but I did want to make sure that I got through most of that. Just so I really wanted to leave some Q&A time here. So as I switch back here, let me read up on this and take a quick drink of water so I don't cough very much. Do we have some user case of the Onramp platform now? Crypto Beijing, thanks for the question. Could you explain a bit more what you mean by user case of the Onramp platform? Are you asking like what would be the use case for somebody implementing Onramp into their application? I think that's what you mean. And it's essentially if you do want customers to somehow purchase something via tokens on your own website, but you don't want them to leave your application, go to Coinbase, go somewhere else, input all that information, then you copy paste that wallet address, send it to your application wallet address, and then go through the purchasing process. This just abstracts it. You keep the users right where you want them in your application, sends those tokens directly to the wallet that you're inputting there on the piece of code that I showed you, and they can use that, and they can use those tokens right away for transferring, making a purchase. Some DApp are now using OnRamps. Some dApps that may be using OnRamp, there's a lot of OnRamp customers. I can say, for example, or the customers that we manage on MetaMask, Phantom, are examples, Ledger. There's a couple more, but I think you get the idea. If I didn't explain something correctly, yeah, let me know there. Is there a way to remove the KYC requirements for buying using credit card, or is that a standard forced feature? Can I also choose my own KYC provider for my users and offer Coinbase KYC? And if a user KYC on Coinbase, can that KYC data be used across the other CDP-based app? Awesome question, Gugu, as always. You always come with the great questions. The only way users will not bypass KYC, but it'll be a very light KYC, is if they use guest checkout. And we have a threshold of $500 on a running 7-day period. And what they essentially need to do is confirm the email address, which we do some security checks on there. But if it's anything above $500 in a 7-day period, they will then, if they don't have an account on Coinbase, will have to go through the KYC process. To the other questions, this is definitely on our roadmap. If you have your own KYC, can you bring it over? That's something that we've been hearing a lot. That's definitely something on the roadmap. Something that we're definitely discussing internally. And also, I think to your second question, is the same thing. If you have KYC on Coinbase, can that data be used? KYC be used across other CDP-based apps? So yeah, I mean, if you are KYC'd in Coinbase, yes, you can use any Coinbase products. For example, OnRamp is a CDP product, and as you saw there, I was using my linked credit card or debit card with my Coinbase account. So that is the downstream service. I only KYC'd in Coinbase when I opened my account, and that is now available to me on OnRamp. Do not know they're using CDP. Yes, they're using OnRamp. Yes, if you go to MetaMask .portfolio, and if you just try to if you want to buy some tokens, they have different options of different providers. You're going to see Coinbase is one of them. Click on that button to check it out, you'll see the same flow that we just went through. Where can I find the documents on fees for using Coinbase liquidity to execute orders on my platform? Where can I find documents? Fees? I think I'm not quite sure what you mean by using Coinbase liquidity to execute orders on your platform. And I think this may refer perhaps to another of our products. Maybe, are you talking about being able to programmatically trade on Coinbase Market? I think that may be the question. And, no. Okay. So apologies. If you could, yeah. Or if you want to chat, again, also apologies, I didn't offer this, but obviously if you want to chat, you can just raise your hand and I can definitely let you come up and speak. Let me stop sharing here. Coinbase to the moon, yes. Awesome, hopefully, yes. We're definitely working our butts off to do that and for you guys, and this is why we're here. If you haven't been to our office hours, we do those regularly every week. We love chatting to everyone, not only answering questions, but also getting feedback from the community is probably what's been the best about these meetings. So, and a lot of us will be in Bangkok next week for DEF CON, just to talk to our deaf community in person. We're going to make the effort to go there and talk to as many of you folks as we can and get what it is that you'd like to know or see. Okay. Your platform as in trading interface you're trying to bring users. I'm sorry. Oh, Gooder. Sorry. Yeah, you were talking to Gooder. Yeah. I'm not sure. Bit of that. Again, if you guys want to chat, we can all come up on stage and chat to one another. Maybe that's perhaps an easier way of talking about. I'm most likely referring to another product you offer. Oh, good. Yeah, it sounds like maybe you want to make use of some sort of trading API endpoints here that we have exposed. If you do, let me link to our docs page here. And if it is what I think it is, if not, I apologize. Check out our advanced trade API endpoint suite, which allows you, again, just to trade programmatically. If you're going to create bots, if you want to do, set up your own logic, it's pretty. We try to offer, and it's getting better and better every day. We're trying to offer those primitives so that you can go ahead and create those complex orders that you may want to, whether it's by algorithmic trading, bot trading, which I guess is kind of the same, or you want to set your own logic so that you have your limits, stop orders, or whatever it may be. That's definitely another workshop that's coming soon. Yes, building. Of course, you can come up to speak. Yes. Yes, building. Can you? I can't hear you. If it is the first time that you're talking on Discord, you may need to give your system permission to your microphone. That's something that we saw when testing. But yeah, so far I cannot hear you. And I think when there is audio, there's this little green box that lights up when it detects audio. Yeah, sorry. Perhaps, yeah, again, like checking those settings, allowing the Discord application access to your microphone, maybe I think will be a good way to kind of debug this particular issue. And as you go ahead and do that, as I mentioned, yes, I will be sharing the GitHub repo there, and as well, the folks on our documentation have also a demo app there. That's pretty cool. I wanted to show that if we had some time, but seems like people are kind of chatting as well. We have one of the senior members of the Onramp team here in the audience as well. So thanks for joining us, Steve. Don't want to put you on the spot, but yeah, he's been definitely one of the people who has built this, and a lot of props to him and the team. Yeah, building. I saw that you kind of muted on an unmuted, but I still cannot hear you. I think it's not recognizing sound, just because I think it's not the little green border is not. I mean, unless anybody can hear him, Ellie. I don't know. Oh, okay. Oh, okay. Oh, that sucks, building. Yeah. That's strange. Yeah, we've talked in the past, I think, in some office hours. I don't know if you reinstalled it, perhaps. Yeah, so I guess if anybody from what we all saw, any comments, any feedbacks, anything that seemed, like there was too much friction, what can we make better? What can we make easier? What would you like to see that we don't have yet? Google, I think you brought us some awesome questions here about the KYC, and that's on the radar, as I mentioned. I'd love to hear those. Love to know that those things are on the community's minds as well. And yeah, thank you, Ellie. If you want to also share that feedback in that Google Doc as well. Love you. Thank you. Awesome. This is what we do it for, but not stopping. So again, anything that you all, I mean, you don't have to shoot from the hip now. Perhaps again, play around with the repo or the docs. Get it to work. It's not going to take too much time to implement. Again, create like a React app, boots, a small React app, implement this, play around with it in your project. It is a great way, again, as I was mentioning to Crypto Beijing, to keep users within your application and make sure as well that those tokens are delivered to the right wallet, because they don't have to also go ahead and copy paste, or we know that those addresses are pretty long and hard to keep track of. So yeah, right there, as you can see, if you do that one-click buy again as well, hacked easily, 100%. Yeah, it's like there's people who just run tons of create tons of wallets so that they can get it to to look like the last 3 or 4 digits are the same, but the first whatever many are not. Yeah, we've seen those as well in the past. So this is kind of I think the best and fastest and easiest way to allow your customers, your users, to onboard or on-ramp those tokens from fiat onto your tokens, and get them delivered quickly. As you can see, as I mentioned, one click is pretty simple to set up, and most of the time, I think you'll maybe gather that information from your customer, and they can just click and buy. Pretty simple.
Alrighty, I think
Build
that's
a
the
one, yeah.
last of the
Yeah, go ahead.
questions. But thank you everyone for joining us today. So this is one of our many workshops that are coming through. So our next workshop is next week. I'm gonna put the link to that. So we'd love to see y'all all there as well. So that will be put in the chat. 1 second. There you go. And yes, for any feedback, if you would love to see other types of workshops, or any feedback on this workshop or any ideas for future workshops, please make sure to fill out the feedback here. It will help us, tailor to whatever you guys would like to see within the community.
100%. And don't hold back. If there's something that I did not do, or I did not do to your expectations, please do let me know. This is a growing and learning process, and we want to make sure that you're getting the most out of this, for sure. And if there's anybody in Thailand next year, please don't be shy. Come up, say hi. We'll get some pad thai. We'll do something fun. I'm sure it's going to be a blast. No, Miami and Atlanta.
Yeah.
Right.
That's correct.
Atlanta. Yes. East Coasters. Thank you, Gooder, for joining us. Thank you. See building typing there. Cool deal. East Coast as well. Yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you all. Ping me on whatever channel if you have any questions around anything, and we'll make sure to get that repo and those that presentation out to y'all soon.
Thank you, everyone.
Have a great week, all. Take care.